Okay, now I am recording it, so everyone should be satisfied that we're going to get this recorded. We have our guest today, my sponsor, John Kinnear, who has been able to build teams in previous opportunities. He has graciously come in and he's actually designed a system, a web page with very short, concise videos that I believe he created them all. Because of his experience, he knows how to do this. So pay very close attention. For those of us that are here, we'll be able to answer and ask questions in response to what John shares. But this absolutely works. It's very personable, very professional, and very respectful on how this whole process works. And that's some really key points that you want to be that you want to come up at. So, John, tell us a little bit more about you and maybe how you've developed this process and why it works so well.
Sure, absolutely. It was the origin story of this is not inspired. It came from me being pig-headed. That was it. So I got involved in network marketing as a young man, like most young men, thinking I had all the answers and I had nothing to learn. I remember being 24, 25, thinking that I had the whole world figured out. I'm not sure if anyone else relates, but that was certainly my stance on life. I was on top of it all.
That's awesome. I relate. That's for sure.
And so it's so funny. It's so funny. I maybe part of the enthusiasm and invigorance of youth, but I got involved. I was a commercial photographer, if you recall, and I shot a lot. I started shooting. My father was a photographer, and he studied at Brooks Institute in San Diego, and came back up to Canada after some time there, and also the Falk Institute in Illinois. So he went to two very prestigious, probably the two most prestigious photography schools in probably anywhere, I think, because they were pretty intense. In fact, Chase, I had a chance to go through his old school portfolio and see some of the stuff he was working on when he was a kid, and
That's
so I kind of got shoehorned down that road, and fortunately for me, I had an aptitude for it. Otherwise, there probably would have been a bit of animosity. And so I really enjoyed it. And of course, you always want to accomplish as much as you can when you're young. I remember having goals for myself, and they involved family members as well, helping to want to create a sense of freedom for. I don't know why freedom was a big deal for me. Big deal. I really hated to be required to be anywhere. I always wanted it to be a choice. And it's funny, even though I was just young, I think that it's the right for all of us for that to be a choice. But for your time to be entirely yours, and anything and everything you do to be your choice, without having anything imposed upon you, even if it's indirectly imposed upon you by financial obligations, it's still really nice for that to all be your choice. And so that's really where I was coming from. That was why I was not open to the concept of network marketing in the early stages. I remember, in fact, so I was a retail guy, and I remember, in fact, my parents had a retail business, and it was in the photography industry. And in fact, they were the third store in our part of the world that had that 1 hour photo finishing equipment where you take the roll out of your camera and bring it in. So that was where I earned my allowance. I had to clean up around that place starting at, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old. So it was just always part of my life. And I remember when my good friend Lyndon came into my business, and he said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, and you should do it with me. You can do really well." And I heard supplements. I heard health, and I couldn't really relate. And so I turned him down. 2 separate occasions he popped in, just as a courtesy to me. He popped in, and because he was doing really well anyway, he didn't need me along for the ride. And so I remember after the second time, it stuck with me a little bit more, but no interest. But I asked my father, I said, what's multi-level marketing? What's network marketing? And I remember he pulled me aside somewhat aggressively, and he said, network marketing is a business for people who don't have enough money to start a real business. That was his definition. And so that was the end of it for a little while, until about a month later, Lyndon came in with his first couple of paychecks, because, with a product-based business, you need to generate the sales, and then a little bit of time needs to pass for credit cards to clear. Products need to be delivered, because companies like Herbalife and Nu Skin and Amway all have that cancellation time period. And then I think 2 or 3 weeks later, they dropped his checks in the mail, and then they eventually arrived. And he showed me a couple $1,000s worth of checks for his first, I think it was for his first 3 or 4 weeks worth of work. And this would have been 1995. And that was what forced me to take a little bit more action. And so it was the same sort of pig-headedness that that was just a regular part of my life at that age, that disabled my ability to pay attention to what he was doing, and automatically assumed that I had it all figured out, even though a few days earlier I was asking my father the definition of the industry. So I would just struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. And because I was coming from a place of cynicism and disbelief, I just assumed that everyone else was coming from a place of cynicism and disbelief. And a lot of people that I spoke with weren't carrying the same baggage about the industry that I was. And so I found myself overselling, if that makes sense, because I was coming from this place where this can't be legitimate. So let me dump on you all the information that I know to help curb your opinion, because you must be thinking the same thing about this that I was thinking about this. Some very basic psychology lessons already starting to be learned through the process. And this just it's success in this industry is there's so much psychology in it, but it's very easy to learn. And keeping things simple, you can't overstate the importance of keeping things simple here. Avoiding judgment, a great life lesson anyway, something that, I wish that I had been more open to learning years earlier, but that's just part of our learning curve, and that's the way it is. I guess we just accept things and be grateful that we eventually figured some of those things out and grew up.
Well, and you've done very well. I mean, you have a residual income that you started some 20 years ago plus, and so that's the goal that everyone wants. But the challenge is sometimes getting that invitation, getting the people to look at it in the proper way. Like you said, there's a lot of baggage. There's a lot of people that think different things, and we have to kind of clear the water in a way and start fresh. So that's pretty much what you've established as a way to start fresh with presenting.
Yeah, I don't think that my situation or story is much different than anyone else's that persevered, that pushed through all the frustration, and many, many people have done the same thing in many different aspects of their careers. I did about everything wrong that you can do in the early stages. So I would talk to, let's say, 10 people, and then would have 10 no's. Or if they were being polite to me, I maybe would have 5 no's and 5 maybes. And maybes are the ultimate time waster, because maybes are just your friends that want to be polite to you, but they're really no.
Right.
And it was always the approach that I was going in with. I was just going with the wrong attitude. So this is where I ultimately learned to be disconnected from the outcome, emotionally disconnected. So And I mean that with sincerity. That if friends didn't want to pursue this, there was no animosity, there was no frustration, there was no hurt feelings, nothing, no negative energy at all. I was really never a negative kid growing up anyway, so that part was fairly easy. So it was really just a case of shifting my focus to dumping information on people to investigating, asking intelligent questions, what my friends are looking for, and if there was any way that the project that I was involved in could assist them in what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So the biggest shift was probably from it going about me to going about being about me to being about them.
That's really important.
It is important. Yeah. People, it's really, really important for people to feel listened to. And because I'm the one that's soliciting them, the last thing you want, of course, is for them not to feel listened to. But it's easy for someone not to feel listened to when you just slide right into a pitch and you won't stop talking. And the worst thing is if they're resonating with the information you're sharing and they're inspired to comment back to something you're saying, and you don't let them, you just keep rolling with your pitch. And that's what I'm talking about, some of the things that you do as a young kid, because you're just a rookie. And so you got this information, it is coming out, and there's no way to stop it, right? So it has nothing to do with them and everything to do with you. And people are not stupid. They see that. So as soon as I made that shift, then I would talk to 10 people over time, and 10 people would get started in what I was doing. So what you're doing doesn't matter nearly as much as the how-to. If people feel like your intentions are genuine and your intention is to assist them, then you're going to obviously have a lot more traction.
Right. Well, good. Well, it was interesting because we established this, you taught me this, and when Cash App X came along, I don't even think I asked you a question because you and I had already established a lot of professional rapport, and I liked you a lot, respected you, and it was at that point our relationship was really sealed, and that's an ideal situation. Not everyone has that, but there are people in your life that can come across, and it can be very easy to talk to them. And then the rest of the people, it's just the normal process of listening to them and presenting what you're doing. And as you're seeing on the screen, the simplicity of leverage is really what we're talking about.
It is. And it's really, really important that everyone understand right now, if anyone has any self-doubt at all, even a shred of self-doubt, absolutely anyone with any type of experience can become a master at this. You're not born with this stuff. This is learned. Everyone can learn it, and it's not complicated.
Awesome. Well, let's dig in. I think we're ready.
Sure. So let's see, let's dive into, and I've kept this short. This is a chopped down version of some of the stuff that I usually share. And the reason is that I want us to have some time to role play. And so I've chopped some things out. So this is still a short call. Yeah. Because I think role play is it's really, really important. And scripts are great, and you'll be getting PDF scripts, but how you are able to roll with questions that are inevitably going to come your way. Questions are good. You're not going to get questions if you're not connecting with somebody, and you're not going to get questions if you're not creating any curiosity in someone. So they're just going to nod and wait for the meeting to be over if you're not having any sort of a breakthrough. So questions are really, really good, but managing them is not easy. It takes a little bit of time. So when we talk about leverage, first of all, time and money, either one of these things can be leveraged, but you have to have a lot of money, a lot, to leverage it, like 7 figures plus, in my opinion, because if you have a certain lifestyle that you're used to, let's say between $5,000 and $10,000 worth of bills to cover on a monthly basis, with any project that's long-term sustainable, you'd have to have a significant amount of money to be able to cover those on a regular basis. And so most people don't have an extra $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 lying around that they can put to work for themselves. And so that's why the option for most is going to be leveraging time. But the good news is that you could actually do more faster in a solid model where you leverage time than when you leverage money. So it becomes an equal opportunity solution for anybody and everybody, regardless of your cash flow, regardless of your profession, regardless of your skill set, regardless of your experience. You can all leverage time in a really simple business model and create something that perhaps you never thought was possible for you. That's really cool. That's probably the thing I like most about this type of an industry, is watching people have these breakthroughs on their own. They go, well, I'll try, and full of self-doubt, and things start working. And you just see this shift in their disposition, and you shift in their success, and then shift in their life. And then of course that spills over to everyone that they care about. So that's a lot of fun to be involved in that process for people. So let's talk a little bit about this leveraging of time. Systems are at the root of everything. So if you have a really solid system that gets the job done, then teaching that system is very simply how you leverage yourself. And the simpler the system is, the easier it is to teach, and then the faster things move. So all this stuff, when we're going through this, it all comes across as, or it feels like common sense. You go, of course, yeah, that makes sense. But often you don't think about it until you're struggling with it. And that was the case for me. I go, well, I obviously need to start doing this and not that. That's not working. This is the solution. And then it just seemed too simple to be effective. But then I started focusing on it. And I would take it to the extreme. So I would script everything out for people. I play drums, and so I'd have people come over to my house, and I would grab a set of drumsticks. We would practice scripts, and when they messed up on the script, I'd whack them with the drumstick. And I did that forever. I don't know how many people I hit with drumsticks as we were practicing scripts. And obviously I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I was just simply trying to make a point that when you're feeling stressed or feeling anxiety because you're not comfortable speaking to anyone on the phone, even if it's a friend, if you feel like you're soliciting, you get nervous. And when you get nervous, you start talking and you deviate from the script. So you take a simple plan and you make it complicated. You make it messy, and then it doesn't have the desired outcome. And then you say, well, that doesn't work. No. You found a way to take simplicity and you found a way to mess it up. So that's the most common thing that I see in using a model like this, Chase. It's people underestimate the power of the simplicity of this.
Good point.
So it's really about the fact that you already have rapport with hundreds of people. Social psychologists will tell you, 2,000 people on a first name basis. That doesn't mean you have a rapport with 2,000 people. But remember, all that you need 3 people. I remember when we were all getting started in network marketing, and many of you probably had the same situation. Make your list, make it 200 people. 200 people. I remember my very first project, my friends would give me these cassette tapes instructing me to make a list of 200 people. I was 25 years old. I probably should have been at the peak of my list of names of friends, and I couldn't create a list of 200 people. I couldn't do it. Now, I was writing a list with judgment happening as well. Oh, I can't write that one down. Oh, I can't talk to that guy. So, but everyone's inflicted with that. So anyway, do you need a list of 200 people? No, of course you don't. But you do need 3 friends that are going to commit to working with you, that need what the project can offer them, and they're fully committed to selecting 3 friends to work with them. That's what you do need, and there's no escaping that. You need an opportunity for this to grow exponentially. So if you need to speak to 5 people to get 3 to commit to you. Some of you may need to speak with 10 people. Some of you are going to have to use this model on 20 people or 30 people to get 3 people to commit to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it takes to get that first step complete. Complete it. That's it. So let's walk through that. So there's the 3 partners referring to. We're showing $500 trade packages because it's small enough that it is not a barrier to entry to people, for people. I personally, I don't care how anybody gets involved. It makes no difference to me. I would rather see someone get involved for 300 pack or 500 pack and actually implement this model than someone getting involved for 20,000 and do nothing. Because your goal, my goal for you is for you to hit your ranks in this platform, to get the iPad and to get the Rolex and to get the vacation for 2. And the way that you do that is you have 3 lines of lineage that are growing exponentially. That's the way you do it. Okay. It's not earning $3,000 as a fast start bonus because your buddy came in with 20 grand. That's just completely irrelevant. We're looking to create a long-term residual income. We're not looking to create an income source. If you need extra money, you can go work. Well, you can't anymore, but you used to be able to go work at Starbucks or put a few extra hours in the office. The point is that when I got involved in the industry and the penny dropped for me and I decided to pursue this, it was because I wanted a residual income. I wanted to be able to work really hard and really focused for a limited period of time and get paid for that hard work and focus for the rest of my life or for many years. And of course, that's what happened with one project that continues to pay. That's the goal for all of us. Now, many of us pick projects that end up not being long-term projects. That's life. That's the way it works. Some of us pick projects that go down on a ball of flames 3 months after we get started. That's the way it is sometimes. We can't see the future. We get better over time at vetting owners. We get better at time at vetting companies. That doesn't guarantee anything either. So the only thing that's going to ensure failure is to throw your hands in the air out of frustration and quit. That's never an option. It's like breathing. You just go, keep going. I'm sure my family members at times have thought that I'm a lunatic, but this, you can create a lifestyle for yourself here that you'd have to have just lightning would have to strike to match some of the opportunities that you can create in an environment, in a leverage-based environment here in networking with virtually no money and just a little bit of sweat equity. So every single person on this call can become a millionaire through this project. Absolutely no question. And this is the start of it right here. 3 friends that are willing to share the platform with 3 friends. That's all. Bring on 3 who share 3. That's it. It's almost a cliche. You hear it all the time. So the way you earn, obviously, in this, and this is not about learning the rewards plan, so I'm not going to focus on that, but you know you're going to get fast start bonuses, and you know that you're going to earn in the unilevel. So the numbers I'm going to show you are unilevel based. So you've got unilevel levels 1 and 2 in front of you now. So we call that 1 completed step. Share with 3 friends who share with 3 friends. So for me, I used to tell my friends when I was working with them, you're only allowed to share with 3 friends. So make sure you pick the right 3. And that way it shifts their mindset from an obligation to one of choice, one of freedom. And they need to pick those 3 carefully. So what happens if they end up sharing this with someone and then later on that person does join and they say, you know what, I'm not really interested in sharing this with anyone else. I'm too busy. I just got a pay increase at work. My child just got accepted to X. No problem. No problem. You just be a customer. You enjoy the back office, enjoy the system, and I'll replace you with someone else who's interested in sharing this with 3 friends. The solutions are always simple. Okay? But you must have 3 friends with an openness and willingness to share with 3 friends. And once you do, you stop looking. And if you have a week or an hour a week or 3 hours a week or 5 hours a week you're putting into this, right now most of us have 50 hours a week. your only effort, one thing only, making sure that each one of them is successful in finding 3 friends. So you go from student to teacher really quickly here. But because the system is so simple, you're qualified to transition from student to teacher in hours. Okay? So don't doubt yourself and don't doubt your role as a teacher. And don't think for a second, wait a second, I'm the teacher now. I'm not qualified, because you are. If you completed the first half of step 1, you've selected 3 friends that are openly willing to share with 3 friends, you've been successful. Check, you're done. Now you're the teacher. You may need some support or assistance as the teacher. Who cares? That's fine. But you're the teacher. Accept that responsibility. So what you're doing when you focus on this really simple model, in your head, you're transitioning from hoping, boy, I really hope that my business grows, to making my business grow. So it's a transition of empowerment. It's a significant transition in attitude. And it's a transition that anyone who makes a lot of money in anything makes, whether you're an entrepreneur on Shark Tank or whether you're building a home-based business from your laptop. So you need to have that attitude. I'm driving the bus. I'm in control. I determine how much money I make, not circumstances and not anyone else. Okay, so that's it. So those people in your level 2, what do they have to do? They have to share with 3 friends who share with 3 friends. That's it. So that'll make you an additional $800. Not life-changing by any stretch. But what's happening, the most important thing that's happening, is that you have a system that's starting to be duplicated. And so in your group team chats, the lingo that's being used when you share with 3 and then teach them to do the same, the students are also starting to become teachers. So you're going to see a lot of really constructive chatter in the group chats. How do I handle this situation? So-and-so said this, and one of the team members is going to speak up. That happened to me, and this is how I handle that. All great things. When you see those things starting to happen, well, you know you're about to kick ass, right? Because people are internalizing the information. They understand the simplicity of this, and they're supporting each other. So the person, you can see level 4. Level 4 is the bottom gray line of step 2. Level 4, those people need to share with 3 who add 3. So nothing has changed. It's exactly the same action steps. It's just more people doing them. That's what leverage is. Okay, it's not rocket science, but people start to feel intimidated when things start to grow. It starts to feel like it must be harder when you start making more money. And there's nothing more difficult about it. The same action steps that make you your first $100 will make you your first $1 million. It's all proved out. So we often overthink these things, and we sometimes get intimidated by our own success. Then you get into the psychology of self-sabotage and a sense of worth and all of that bullshit. You can suppress that if you want to, or you can deal with it head on if you want to. I don't deserve to be a millionaire. You're all going to manage that in a slightly different way, but you're going to manage it. You're going to move past it. And what'll happen is, if you've never had significant abundance in your family tree, you're going to be the first. Just like when you celebrate the first young man or lady that went to college, you'll be the first in your family that became a millionaire, and then you're going to pass that on. And what happens from you down, every single person that's part of your genealogy, their standard just took a big leap forward. And that's how this works. So if you have to be the first, so be it. If people have already done this in your family before you, just follow in their footsteps, head down, ass up, and you push. See, with the system, the great thing is the only thing you need to do is provide the energy. So I always admired my friends that became pro athletes when I was struggling as an entrepreneur, because they're surrounded by coaches, and the coaches make their responsibilities crystal clear. Whether they're a hockey player, or a basketball player, a soccer player, a football player, the one thing those athletes know perfectly is what their role is. Every step of every play is all broken down in a little pad they can take home and study. So all they need to do is learn what they need to do, and then they just provide the energy. They make sure they eat right. They make sure they hit the gym. And if they just provide the energy to do their job, they make millions of dollars. That's exactly the same as your role here. Everything is broken down. You're only providing the energy. You're pushing this forward, and you're going to make millions of dollars or tens of thousands, whatever your goal happens to be. Okay, so let's talk about the how-to. We've discussed the what, and this is where the cfxsuccessfromhome.com comes into play. This is just there for simplicity, that's all. It's just that you don't have to copy and paste links and send them to people. Nothing more than that. People ask, is this a replicated site so that when my friend sees that he can join? No, it's not a replicated site, and it will never be a replicated site, because we're going to teach you how to manage this process by yourself, not cross your fingers and have your friend watch a video and then I hope he joins. No, that's not you running your own business. That's us playing the lottery again. So this is all about you interacting with those people, and you making sure that they're heard and that you have an opportunity to explain why you're doing what you're doing. Share your why. So if you do those things effectively, this is going to be a very, very easy process. So you can see here, complete this. That's about $15,000 in earnings. Now, first of all, let's get some expectations on how long it takes to complete this, because this creates a team of it's about 1,000 people. It's a little bit more than 1,000 people. Now that may be a bigger team than any of you have built before, but that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. 95% of this growth is leverage based. It's you learning a simple system and teaching it, and then others learning it and teaching it, and then others learning it and teaching it. So most of the team becomes teachers. So this is not all on your shoulders. So that's why I cracked the whip a little bit when I was doing this with people. That's why the drumsticks came out. Okay, let's practice. And I remember when I was doing this, though, there was no CFX Success from Home. Go watch this 5-minute video. I'll call you back in 2 minutes. That didn't exist, right? So we were using fax machines when I did this. I think the earth was still flat when I was doing it. So this was a while ago. And so yeah, things are monumentally easier now than they were back then. So let's talk specifically then about the site. I don't need to pull it up. You all know where it is. You probably all pulled it up. The top of it is a little 90-second, it's the COVID video that we made. And the reason we did that as a company was because we wanted to be sensitive to the fact that a lot of people are struggling right now, but there are things that they can do about it. And there is often an overwhelming sense of panic when huge disruptors like this happen, and rightfully so. People that are panicking are absolutely entitled to panic, but we want to make sure that they know that there are steps that they can take right now while they're surrounded by uncertainty. There will be individuals that take these action steps with this system, and by the time the uncertainty is gone, they no longer need their job. That's absolutely going to happen to people. So that can happen to anybody. And that's a beautiful thing. It's great. And you could be the catalyst for that. So through this process, you build a team of 1,000. Let's talk about how long this should take. How long, everyone feel free to unmute yourself or drop a comment into the chat. How long do you think it should take? Understanding the process, right? You're reaching out to a friend, whether it's on social media or the telephone or a combination of the two. And you're saying, hey, listen, have you got, Chase, I'm going to change the order of this. Let's roll on using the website. I need you to remind me after we role play the website, everyone, I need you to remind me that let's set a time frame on step 1 after we role play. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Done. Because I want it to be everyone's choice as to what these timelines should be, not what I think is right.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So maybe what I will do is I'll pull up this site. Let's just change screen shares. Okay. So this is about as simple as it can get.
Yeah.
Video 1.
Again, let's just give the domain again. It's CFX successfromhome.com, and that's exactly what we're doing. It's CashFX Success from Home. That's what we're all doing. So that's the website that we send everybody to. Everybody looks at the same information.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Okay, so and you all know what videos are on here. So they're as short as I could make them without omitting a lot of detail. I was absolutely aghast when I finished making the rewards plan video and it was 12 minutes long. I thought, come on, that's the best I can do? 12 minutes? I expected it to be 6 or 7. I thought I'll get all of this done. It'll be 10 minutes for all 3 videos combined. I couldn't do it. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure there was plenty of detail in there for everybody so that you weren't stuck with a bunch of questions afterwards. So it ends up being about 20, 22 minutes by the time the whole process is over. So the intention, Chase, is for me to have a few friends in mind that I think that this would be appropriate for, with the full understanding that that doesn't mean they're the right people. Just that that's my gut reaction or my feeling initially. Or maybe there's not even a gut reaction or feeling. There's just some curiosity. I wonder if so-and-so would be interested in this. This whole process, there's no frustration and no animosity. If any of my friends decide not to pursue it, I could phone my best buddy Chase. He loves stuff like this. And I could send him to this site and he says, John, this is total nonsense. I'm not interested. Water off a duck's back. That's my role. No frustration. It's like, Chase, well, first of all, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I really appreciate you and I appreciate you looking. Yep. Do you mind if I call you in 30 to 60 days just to let you know how it's going for me?
Not a problem, John.
There's not a person on earth that will say no to that. So there's always paths forward, always. And that's what you're looking for. So let's role play this thing. So I'm going to give you a call, Chase. Okay.
Yep.
You can be as nice or as nasty as you want. All right.
Right. We'll play off the idea that because we are both photographers, so we'll play off that idea a little bit.
Okay. All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, I'm looking for Chase, please.
This is Chase.
Chase, it's been a little while. John Kinnear, how are you?
Oh, John, I'm doing very well. Thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Firstly, I have caught you at a decent time.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, very cool. So tell me how things are going.
Things are good. It's spring in Colorado. It's finally warming up. It was kind of cold, and I'm ready to get out and enjoy the warm weather.
Are you shooting much?
Yeah, I'm taking a break, but still having some stock sales coming through, which is good. And I'm inspired to get out and shoot some more because springtime's an awesome time to photograph for sure.
Of course, especially where you're living.
Yeah.
So in the script, normally what we would do is you do as much of this as is required. If it's someone I haven't spoken with for a while, I'll invest a little bit more time in just kind of catching up again. Because A, I'm interested in doing that, and B, it's the right thing to do. And then when I want to snap the call to attention. Now, sometimes I may try to bring the topic of conversation to money. Sometimes I'll only do that if it's an easy thing to do. I won't force it. So in this case, Chase brought up stock sales. That's stock photography sales. So I'll comment on that. How are the stock sales going? Are you meeting kind of all your financial needs through stock exclusively now?
That's I used to be able to do that, but it is a declining market, as you know. The internet has destroyed a lot of the value in photography. People don't expect to pay $500 for an image anymore. They expect to pay $1
or a free download.
or a free download. Yeah.
It's
You're,
frustrating
yeah,
for sure.
exactly. It's very
Especially when you
frustrating.
see your favorite images
Uh,
available
the
out there for
ones,
free.
the ones you spent $7,000 or $8,000 to put together, and they don't consider them valuable anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, the good news is people still appreciate it, but that appreciation isn't meaning dollars in your pocket.
that's true. Very true.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I know that you'll persevere in that front. But listen, the reason for my call happens to be financially based.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to catch up with you, and then I wanted to share something, a little project that I started working on. And the idea for me was for it to supplement what I was doing. And I wasn't really going to share the project with anybody, but as I saw what was originally just intended for a supplement start to become a more substantial contributor to my finances, that I thought, I got to share this with a few friends.
Okay.
So we'll just pause scene for a second. So consider from Chase's perspective, first of all, we've done the same thing that a commercial does, really, in 30 seconds. We've created a little bit of pain, not a lot of pain, because I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. But if he set the table for a lot of pain, if he brought up some big problems, then I would certainly repeat those again. And we've already offered a solution. And when we say, listen, the reason for my call is, that phrase is the shift, okay? So we've gone from catching up and enforcing rapport that we already have. Okay, here's the reason I'm calling. Now his ears prick up and he's paying attention. And then I just packaged my financial situation as something that was working great for me, so well for me, in fact, that I could no longer keep it a secret. So that's my first definition of what I'm doing. Okay. And so every single person that you have a conversation with, I tell you, there's not a person on the planet that will, at this stage of the conversation, won't at least be curious. And that's all you want, is curiosity. Okay. So Chase, just for the sake of simplicity, I've got a little 90-second video, and then I've got an 8-minute video. So a total of basically 10 minutes. Have you got 10 minutes at some point to watch these two videos and for me to give you a quick phone call back with looking for some feedback?
Wow. Yeah. 10 minutes. That's all?
That's it. That's all it takes.
Sure. Okay. Sure. What do I need to do?
Well, basically, I want to send these videos to you when I know you have time to watch them immediately. And the reason is, when I call you back 10 minutes later, then it's completely fresh in your mind, and I'm getting the best feedback I could possibly get. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah,
so if you got time now, I'm going to send you the URL now. If you don't have time till later, I'll call you later.
Let's do it now. I was thinking later, but let's send it now.
Okay. So you're going to find your friends are pretty curious at this point. And so I'm going to give him the URL, and I'm going to call him back later. And I'm going to say, when I call you back, I got just a couple of questions for you as it relates to the information you're about to see. So I'll be really keen to get your answer for those two questions.
Okay.
This is the teacher saying, hey, you better do the homework because I'm calling you back and I'm giving you a quiz. That's the way he's going to read that without it being insulting.
Right.
So again, the whole process is, instead of hoping people do what you want, you're making them do what you want. But you're making them do what you want in a way that's not inflammatory or not confrontational or not unkind. I'll tell you, man, everybody wants direction. Everybody, with the simplest tasks. And so that's all you're doing, is you're just providing very, very clear direction. And you're saying, this is the path and this is the only path. That's it. So right from the very beginning, we're setting the foundation for exponential growth, for leverage. So I send Chase the videos. I'm going to call him back 10 minutes later. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello, John.
Hey, Chase. Hey, now, by the way, you are always going to have times where people don't answer your call when you call back. But you're going to reduce that by such a significant amount by laying out the clear roadmap ahead of time. You're going to watch this 10 minutes. I'm going to call you right back. I have two questions for you. you're going to find that 90% of the time, people are going to be there answering your call. Okay.
Yep.
Jace, how are you?
Great. I watched those videos.
You did, so I didn't even have to ask you. You already watched the video, the top one and the second one.
Yeah, that they were very short. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. So, what were your questions?
So in regards to the second video, the one that was 8 minutes long,
Right.
I have two questions only. I would like you to think of the element of the information that you saw that you appreciated or liked the most, and I'd like to know one element from that information that you liked the least.
Okay. Well, I watched it, and there was talk about this big forex market. I've heard of that. I've traveled. I've exchanged a little money here and there, but I didn't realize that a person could trade that. So that was very interesting to me. The other aspect was that I've never really done anything like this. It sounds complex, even though they said it was simple. I'm just not certain that that would be for me.
Yeah, I'll give you a sense, just so you know, because sometimes in marketing people can exaggerate or companies can exaggerate, and so I understand that concern. So, do you have difficulty working your cell phone?
No, I don't.
No problems ever? Do you ever have a
Well,
problem sending an email to someone?
No.
No
I've done
problems?
that for decades.
They always go out, they never come back?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, well, listen, if you can manage those two things, you can manage this thing. One of the things that I learned is they spent a lot of money with programmers and designers to make sure that people like me can make this thing work. So that, in fact, is the whole origin story of the company. Was the intention by the developers, by the owners, to take what is a really complicated thing, and that's the forex market. So you're absolutely right; it's very complicated, and to dumb it down to the point where I can plug in my cell phone and start making this thing work for me. So I
like that phrase, dumb it down.
I'm sorry?
I have to say, I like that phrase, dumb it down, because it's kind of like in photography. You just got to dumb it down so someone can be successful being a photographer. They don't have to know ASAs, ISOs, shutter speeds and apertures. They just need some basic information.
Absolutely. And for us, because we're not the ones actually doing the trading, all they had to create was an interface for us. So we could watch what was going on. We could share the information with others if we wanted to, and we could get our trade results at the end of every trading day. That's it. So like I said before, originally I kept it to myself. I just wanted to profit from it. But then when it started working so well, I thought, I can't keep this a secret. I got to share this with VFriends.
Gotcha. Sounds very interesting.
So we're at a bit of a fork in the road, and that fork is serviced by a third video. And you probably noticed there was one in a gray box below the one that I asked you to watch. If you're at least curious at how this platform and sharing this platform with others could create a significant income source. And I'll tell you, what started out very apprehensively for me, I quickly realized could potentially actually replace my primary income source. If you're curious about that, you don't have to be open to it, just curious, then I've got one more video for you to watch.
Yeah, sure. I'll watch that.
Okay, well, you already know where it is, so I'm going to call you back in 12 minutes because that's how long it is.
Okay.
All right, see you in a bit.
Bye.
All right, so we don't need to do a walkthrough on that. I suppose we could. We'll do it. But what's great about this process is that from the very first time that I called Chase until I'm calling him back at the end of the last video, we're probably talking about 30 minutes, including me chatting with him on the phone. 30 minutes. 30 minutes to go from total stranger, not total stranger as far as our relationship, but total stranger to the project, to at the other end of the 30-minute process, yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do this. So one of the things that you'll appreciate is that maybe will not be an option for you. Maybes are your big time wasters. So there's no space for maybes. We don't accept maybes. It's a yes or no. And I don't care which one it is. It's a yes or no. Okay? So I can get to the yes or no in 30 minutes. And so now you have a sense of how fast you can start to go through this process to find the 3 individuals that are going to work with you on the project. Okay, so I'm going to call you back, Chase. Ring, ring.
Okay. Hello.
Hey, Chase, John here.
Hey, John.
So what did you think of that last video? Any one thing that stuck out that you liked and one thing that stuck out that you didn't like?
Yeah, it seemed pretty well laid out. I don't think I fully understand everything. You know, that it's only 12 minutes, but everything I saw was, you know, I'm open to learning, I think. It sounds like I have a few things to learn.
I'm going to share, first of all, I'm going to share one thing with you really quickly. And that is, a lot of people ask, if the technology that these guys have created to trade in the Forex market is so good, why don't they just trade their own money and save themselves all the work of building a company like this?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that would be my question. Yeah, why are they doing this?
So, and it's a great question that you almost asked. So the answer is very simple. Because the platform is so simple and it's so easy to share, like I can share it with a couple of videos from my smartphone. What happens is we're seeing a lot of people start to get involved and use the platform, and they're buying the trade package that you've watched the videos on. Remember, there's 15 different trade package options.
Right.
And then the capital from that trade package is going to work for you. So imagine if the owners, let's say, set aside $100,000 or $200,000 of their own money and they started trading that money, versus building a platform, a very simple automated platform that's very easy to share. And within 24 months, they're trading $500 million. And they're charging a small trading fee off the top of that. And that's how they're making their money. They're making an absolute fortune, and they're still helping us create success for ourselves as well.
Interesting. That sounds
That's a very, very
exciting.
smart model. And the best part is the software that they're using, they develop themselves. They don't buy it from anybody. And they were using it for 1.5 years before they started allowing the general public to use it.
And this has been working for you. How would you describe that, John?
It's been working for me and then you just fill in your own personal details. I'm happy to show you my back office. You can see my daily trading results come in. I'm happy to show you money I've withdrawn so that I can assure you that part of the process is working smoothly as well. And the only question is whether you would like to make a lot of money or just a small amount to supplement, like a couple $100 a month. And I'm asking this question in seriousness. It's not meant to be tongue in cheek, because some of my friends that are doing this project within a month or two of starting are making an extra couple thousand or $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Some of my friends are very happy making an extra $200 or $300 a month. Which one of those is more appropriate for you?
Well, the larger amount is always attractive to me.
So to make the larger amount, then what you're going to do is the same thing I'm doing. And that is this website that you looked at, you're simply going to put this in front of a few friends. So you're not going to have to become an expert explaining this. You're going to have to become an expert at one thing: giving a website away, which you probably already know how to do.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
That's it. That's it. So you walk through the process with someone else in the same way that I just did with you. And then this will facilitate you moving into that larger earning area. Because the video number 2, then all those bonuses that we discussed, then you open yourself up to earning all of them. And by the way, the reason the company is giving, I'm not sure if you noticed when it showed you the bear bull breakdown, and the company's giving 100% of the money that goes towards the Academy Pack purchase. The reason they can afford to give 100% away is because of what we were talking about earlier. They're actually making their profits through commission fees they charge us in the trading results.
And so again, how do they make their money? I seem to have missed that.
So they're trading on the Forex market. They're trading our capital, and they charge a service fee. So if they make $1 million in a trading week, and they're charging 0.5%, There you go. There's $50,000 that they made for the week. That's good profit. When they're trading $10 million, they're making $500,000. When they're trading $100 million, they'll make $500,000. That's a pretty good week.
Well, great. Well, I probably need to run, but this is exciting, John, and appreciate the time.
Thanks, Chase. All right. I will reach out to you again, and we'll help you get started.
Great. Thanks, John.
That's it. So the take home for all of you here is one thing only. Tell me what you liked the most and tell me what you liked the least. What's actually happening there? He's telling me what his hot button is, what his trigger is, and he's telling me if there's any misunderstandings, if there's any obstacles. If I don't know there's any obstacles, how can I solve them? How do you identify them? You ask. It's so easy. So that's the process. This is the bulletproof process that's from a lot of me screwing up. And this really simple process will make you all the money you ever need to make.
Yeah. And John, this can work, if someone wants to work belly to belly or telephone, or they could even do it on social media and using Zoom or Skype, or is it open to anything?
Yeah, any way you want. Absolutely. So you can do this anyway. There are some people that are using this, and what they're doing is they're booking a Zoom call with their friends, and they're actually watching the video with their friend. And so that way they're watching their friend's reaction while their friend's watching the video.
Perfect.
Yeah. So the idea is 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and you go from zero exposure to either a yes or no. You take maybes off the table because you're giving them so much direction. You're asking what your hot button is. You're asking about hurdles. For example, I think, Chase, one of your hurdles was the complexity of the Forex market. It was very easy to overcome. A hurdle for some people might be network marketing. I hate this. I hate sharing with other people. Now I know there's a lot of venom. There's a lot of emotional anxiety in the mind, in the heads of people that have that as an obstacle, right? Is this one of those network marketing things, right? So if you ask them what you didn't like, that surely is going to come up for that person. And so there's a number of ways that you could handle that. And when I was building my product business as a kid, and that was an obstacle, I thought, well, I need to meet this obstacle head on. So before they would learn anything about the company I was building, I would say, all right, first of all, step number one, let me explain to you why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I would share my why, and I would make sure it only took 30 seconds. Okay. So now they understand exactly why we're even talking, because they're still trying to piece together what the hell is he calling me for? Right. And so it makes sense to us because we're the ones making the call. But for the person receiving the call, there still can be a lack of clarity there. And so if I say, listen, the reason that I'm calling you is, and then I just share my why. As you know, I own my own studio. I've had it for 8 years. I love what I do. But there were some goals that I set for myself at university. And now that I'm 8 years down my career path, it's easy for me to forecast forward and realize about 80% of my financial goals I'm going to fall short of. So recently, Chase, I started thinking, asking myself if it was okay to miss 80% of my financial goals. And I was thinking maybe it is okay because I like what I do. But I thought, no, I don't think it is okay. And so I decided to take some action. What I decided to do was look for another project that I liked as much as photography, that I could add, only took a few hours a week, but could supplement my income to the point where it made the difference between where I am and where I need to be to accomplish most of those financial goals. Okay?
Boy, that's a great explanation.
Well, you've just defined your company.
Yeah.
You've defined your company without saying vitamins, right?
Yeah.
The definition of your company is 5 hours a week is going to make the difference between where I am now and where I need to be. And everyone's going to want to buy that product, whatever the hell that product is.
Right.
Right? So that's how you're setting your meeting up for success. So when I started doing that, that was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was I smashed the barrier, the network marketing issue. So the second question, or the first question out of my mouth after I explained my why I was doing what I was doing, was, what are your thoughts on network marketing? And then I just let them talk. And usually it was a trigger point for them, so they would vent, right? That
Right.
bloody network marketing, blah, 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 blah. And I could care less what they say. I just need to give them an opportunity to say it. And so then I say, well, listen, I appreciate everything you just shared with me. I've got some really good news for you. All of the issues that were the catalyst for the horrible experience that you had up until this point, none of those issues are part of this project. So you've taken the most difficult issue, the most difficult hurdle, and you've just completely negated it. It's done. It's finished. And you did that in your first 7 minutes of your meeting. And that's how I went to a 10 out of 10 sign-up rate. And it didn't matter what I was building.
Right.
Right? So people need to be heard. They need to be understood. Because once I laid a path, a really easy path for them to move forward, they would move forward. Because almost everyone you know has some kind of financial need. But if your path is full of minefields and obstacles and hurdles, it becomes really hard to move forward. Then it's a timing game. Someone needs what you want more than they're fearing or having anxiety over the obstacles. Just remove the obstacles, and then everyone can move forward. That's it. So that's why it's mostly psychology, and you're going to get really good at it because it's simple psychology. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic.
So now that's back to how long does it take to select 3 friends, which is the first half of step 1. How long does it take? I want people to just fire into the chat if you think it should take a month to select 3 friends. Now remember, this is 3 friends. I gave Chase that option after video number 2. You're either going to share this with me, build this with me, or you're just going to be a customer. He said, I want to build it. That's now how I defined it, right? You want to make a little bit of money, you want to make a lot of money. That's how I defined it. Well, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, well, this is what you do. Okay, and this is the only way to do it. So I want to know how long you think it should take to complete the first half of step 1, which is getting 3 friends that want to build with you. Okay, Chase, how long do you think it should take?
I thought a week, but maybe 2, just because maybe someone's new and they have to just overcome the challenge of the first one, and then once they get that done, then they're like, oh,
yeah, there's a growth curve too, right? You'll trip and stumble a little bit in the beginning. So Christopher said 2 weeks. Everyone else, give me your feedback, whether you unmute yourselves and go ahead and do that, or type it in the chat.
Yeah, what do you think it'll be for you? Type it in the chat.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Thanks, Roger.
For 3 people, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. A month, yeah. When I was rolling this model out, I was actually thinking, Ted, I was thinking a month. And I think a month is probably too long for most people. It's too slow for most people. There won't be that sense of progress. But I think as far as laying an expectation out, between a month and 2 weeks is reasonable. I think what's realistic, what can be done by most people, and what would be the easiest path forward is for about a week. And the reason is you're staying focused on it. So a week is not reality, because that would mean 6 weeks. There's 6 gray lines, right? Levels 1 through 6. That means in 6 weeks, you built a team of 1,000 people. And that's highly unlikely. And the only reason it's highly unlikely is because everyone is learning the system initially. So as you're enforcing, they're going to start to learn to enforce, and then they're going to teach, and they're going to learn to enforce. And that may take a little bit more time. So regardless, what we've rolled out here, though, is if it's 2 weeks times 6 different intervals, we're looking at 90 days, 3 months. Or if it's 1 month, we're looking at 6 months. So for you to build a team between 3 and 6 months of about 1,100 people, that's a fantastic thing. Now, I started around August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So it's been 8 months for me. We're about 8,200 people right now. And so, of course, you can very easily do it. And I never even introduced this material yet until just now, and we're, 8 months in. But if you follow this really simple little roadmap, then in 6 months, no problem. You can absolutely do this. And if you fall short in 6 months, it's okay. You're well down the road, and many people within your team understand the model. And there are sections of your team that are just going to start to run on their own. Because when the student knows the curriculum exactly as the same as the teacher does, then this is where the fun part of network marketing really surfaces. That question of, how is this going to grow? But if everyone has the information and if everyone's getting the results, it's going to grow. And so that's the fun part. So if you take a look at this next page, this is explaining, actually, let me share one thing with you. So when you complete step 2 is done. Everyone in your step 1 is going to be doing what? They're going to be upgrading to $1,000 packages. Right? There's lots of growth happening. When you complete step 2 or step 3, apologies, everyone in your step 2 is going to be upgrading to $1,000 packages. Everyone in your step 1 is going to be upgrading to probably, I'd say not everyone, but many of them will be upgrading to $2,000 packages. You'll probably be upgrading to a $5,000 or $10,000 package. In fact, you'll probably be doing that long before step 3 is complete. You'll probably be at 10 or 20 or 30,000 by the time that happens. So that's a fast track for you and your own success as well. Okay. So here is an example of everyone eventually on a 1K pack. No more growth in your team, just 6 generations of growth. And that's an additional $15,000. And that's one of the powers of the model, is everybody is on this journey to move through the trade package ladder. Everybody. Remember, Wasgar, the intention is for everybody, regardless of how they start, regardless of their socioeconomic situation, for all of them to have the ability to move through to a 100K trade package. So have a look at this. Go ahead, Christopher, you have a question.
Yeah, just that those look like the same figures you had for the 500 pack.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and here's the reason why. So you're starting at a 500 pack, right? And what happens when you upgrade to 1,000? You spend another 500. So they are exactly the same figures. Yeah, good observation. So I've made it additional, the same amount again, just through that process of them upgrading. And then what's the next upgrade? Well, the next upgrade is for them to spend 1,000. So you should see those figures double. Same people, right? So let's take a look at that. The purple one at the top, that's a $2,000 upgrade. There it is, double, 31,000. The orange one next to it, that's a $3,000 upgrade. The brown one is 5,000, then 7,000, and then 10, and then 15, and then 20, and then 30, and then 40, 50, 70, and 100. So you add all those together, you're probably about $2.5 million that you've made from the same group, not even factoring any growth of your business.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of power in that. Now,
Well, and the great thing is no one's quitting. No one's saying, "Oh, the heck with that." Everyone stays in this, and so your potential is almost guaranteed.
there's no auto ship. What are you going to quit for?
Right? Exactly. No charges, and there's nothing to really do. I mean, it's just call up 3 friends and run that through, and get them to take a look at a couple of videos. This is a choice.
Wascar and Edmund just need to make sure their software continues to perform, and they put a ton of time and energy into making sure it does that. And we just need to share it.
Yeah.
So that's the end of our
this
presentation, guys. We want to keep it really simple.
Yeah.
Simple is all I can handle.
John,
Yes.
how quickly did you get to your 100,000 pack?
Maybe 6 months. I started at 2,000.
And how many times have you been through the 100,000 pack?
I've gone up to 100, and I'm just about tapped now. I've got my little warning popping up, so I'm just about to renew it for the first time.
Great
So
problem to have.
the goal, of course, is for you to then at that point increase the interval with which you're renewing it. If you're renewing your $100,000 pack once a month, remember, if you're seeing pretty close, and as your team grows, you'll see a lot of balance between your bull and your bear. So let's say, if you're close to 200 and 200, that's 400, right? And you're going to pay your withdrawal fee of 20%, 400,000, 80,000, that's $320,000 gross. Then you're going to pay for yourself back for that 100K pack. So that's a 220 net. Okay. So you're up $220,000 every time you renew at the high level if you're balanced. And so if you're able to renew once a month, you're making $220,000 a month. And then your goal, of course, is to continue to support your group and eventually be renewing once a week. You're making $1 million a month. And then maybe you want to renew every second or third day, which over time could eventually happen as well. And that's how you give yourself a pay increase.
So Ted had a good question. How do you claim your earnings, short-term capital gains?
Yeah, personally, I have a limited company. And so I've already attached my CFX business to that limited company. So that way I can mitigate taxes as much as legally possible. And then, of course, you just pay taxes on any cryptocurrency that you convert to fiat.
Yeah. So when it goes from cryptocurrency, Bitcoin to paper money. Yeah.
That's it. That's where you're eligible. Now, and then the law is, though, if you're going to convert to any fiat, so if I'm in Japan and I'm converting BTC to yen, I still need to declare that.
Right. Albert asks, some people I've spoke to in the U.S. are concerned about the company not operating in the U.S. How do you handle that?
Well, keep in mind, no company is doing what they're doing in the U.S. So they're trying to break new ground here. And so that takes time. There's a lot of money that's being spent on legals to make sure that they get that done.
Right. So to be clear, if your intention is just to be a member in the United States, you're not able to join at this time.
Not yet.
If your intention
I would discourage people from doing so because
right.
All it does is it lengthens out and increases the legal process to make it more challenging.
Right. But as we have.
If you're in, you're in. Your grandfather, baby.
Right. And you can partner, which is another solution if you want.
I can't say anything about that.
Right. And I know you can't. So I'll just be clear that if your intention is that you would like to, you can, and you can partner with someone in the outside the U.S. So, John,
that would be different. That would be your business not being a U.S.-based business. But remember,
right, exactly.
If you do that, you can't solicit to people in the U.S.
Okay.
You'd be building an international business. You could authenticate your KYC internationally, proving you're living elsewhere, or your business partner is. And then when you're marketing not to the U.S. You're marketing abroad.
Okay. Howard asking, are we permitted to provide income earning testimonials? And if so, is there a source of those?
Yeah, you can provide income earning testimonials. Yeah, you just need to have disclosures. For example, there's an earning disclosure. Same thing with an income earning disclosure. That would simply be, listen, in fact, there is one right into the PowerPoint. Participation is not a guarantee of success. Success using the CFX rewards plan takes hard, consistent work, and you go ahead and you could paraphrase if you wanted to, or add to it if you wanted to, but that's kind of the standard approach. So there is a disclosure for the rewards, your gains. Now keep in mind, screenshots of your back office are no, and that's not because we don't allow it. It's because international law doesn't allow it. It's called enticement. And so you need to be careful how you disclose your earnings.
Well, great. And Christopher, would you comment? I think you've been using this process in the last few days. Would you care to just comment on how well that's working?
Is that me unmuted? Yep, sure. Yeah, John was kind enough to share the website with us just about 3 days ago. And I listened to the video behind those 3 videos a couple of times. And I was using it yesterday for the first time. I used it with 4 different people. And 3 said yes at the end after the second telephone call. And the 4th one said yes to the person who introduced me to the guy, so somebody in my team. And yeah, if you just stick to what John has suggested, it works like a treat. And what I really like is that there's no angst, no pain, no fear, because there's no pressure really. You're just asking straightforward questions. And if they say no, what does it matter? Lots of people out there. John, a question for you. Is there a way to stop the 3 videos? The first video goes across and shows you the teaching video, if you like, which is behind it. And one person had a bit of trouble finding the second video. I mean, I think the best.
How to end the first one, you mean?
So at the end of the first video, if you don't do anything, it then says more videos from John, and it shows you the 45-minute video in which you explain how to use it, rather than going straight to the number 2 video.
Got it. Yeah, maybe what I'll do is I may take those videos and isolate them on the server or find another player so it doesn't show you that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Let me work on that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you very much. I really love it. It's something, you know, I've been in the business on and off for about 20 years, and it's just so simple. I love it.
Simple's fun.
Yep. Simple's good.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you.
Right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close the recording here.